Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. This is a fun one. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Chronograph Ceramic, the 2016 model. There was a 2014 model that was black and red accented. This one is gray and blue. It's a lovely look, and it was one of the last of the distinctive Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor series, first coined in the early 2000s with the Master Compressor Memovox. The system revolves around the half-turn compressor crown system that locks and unlocks without any need to thread a crown in or out. Also being color-coded, it's very easy to see whether your crown is currently secured. Now the watch is large, so 46 millimeters in diameter, it's 13.5 millimeters thick, lug tip to lug tip, 53.5 millimeters, with a 23 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The compressors were favorites of mine, and I owned a Master Compressor Extreme World Alarm Tides of Time for a while. They wear surprisingly well despite their size. This is a fairly flat watch, and it will easily fit under a cuff. You can see it does fit on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and that's even pulling the strap fairly tight because it's not broken in. Down the barrel, you can see that the lugs just clear the edge of my wrist. And so if your wrist is my size or larger, this is going to wear just fine. It's not freakishly light. Unlike a lot of ceramic watches, the secondary on this is actually steel rather than titanium, so it has a respectable weight to it, and it will easily fit under a cuff. The nice thing about ceramic is it's so scratch resistant, and this matte finish is going to remain essentially unmarred for as long as you own the watch, unless you do something really stupid. Taking a look, the strap features an element that was popularized on the Master Compressors and Compressor Extremes in the 2000s when they first surfaced, the double contrasting stitch. On the bottom, you can see calfskin, no crimping, no gouging, brand new JLC factory strap. On the top, you can see we've got a textile style pattern on this leather strap, a little bit of bolstering to give it some volume. You can see the edges shear cut and then lacquered for refinement. And we have minder loops that are not minding their manners, and a JLC branded buckle that features polish as well as satin. Taking a look at the case, it's a simple design. We've got a little bit of an inward step of the bezel to visually thin it out, blended Calatrava style lugs that come to a fine point, and you can see the condition is excellent. We've got a combination of media blast surfacing on the components of the crown side, including the compressor crowns. White you're tight, blue you're through. You know not to jump in the water when you see blue. The advantage here is kind of similar to what Panerai has with its device protecting the crown, in that rather than threading through the stem tube assembly and the seals constantly, all you're doing is decompressing and recompressing the seal. So that preserves the seal, the stem, and the stem tube. Also, as soon as I wish to turn it with wet, sweaty, or gloved hands, these wings give me purchase. And so now I can wind it. As soon as I turn the crown and unlock it, you can wind it. You can pull the crown out and activate some of the secondary setting modes. We'll just start from the top and talk about setting. Note the presence of a hacking mechanism. So you pull the crown, everything stops, including the chronograph. The chronograph is paired with a GMT function, which is why we have a day-night indicator. Both the remote hand and the local hour hand, which I will locate in a little detent here, they are both 12-hour format. See, this is what happens when you don't have nails, guys. Don't let internet denizens convince you to cut your nails like me. Now we've got two 12-hour hands, so if you don't want that secondary hour, you can superimpose them and clean up the dial. But you can see that I know whether I'm looking, for example, at, well, I suppose this would be 19 minutes to midnight or 19 minutes to midday. So you can see that that little dot is blue, so that means it is night. So that's important to keep in mind. We also have a quick set if you turn in the opposite direction when the crown is in its intermediate position. So we have a day-night indicator for the 12-hour secondary, and then the local hour hand, which is the one on top, is what drives the date through the change. One of the features of this movement is a crisp date change. Now you can see it's a blue on white date, and we have this lovely gray dial. It's an uncommon kind of inverse panda where we have the anthracite gray, and then we have the silver and the blue accents. Now my favorite detail here is probably that lovely little skeletonized running minutes hand. It is a semi-instantaneous jump minute, and the watch has no shortage of luminescence. Taking a quick look, it's very inspired by the 1968 version of the Polaris diving alarm, and that's true of many of the Master Compressors and Master Compressor Extremes. Also, if you take a close look, you get a good sense of the depth of the dial and the height of the indices, as well as the numeral here. The movement uses a caliber 757 automatic winder with twin barrels and a 65-hour power reserve. It has the quick set, it has the hacking, it has the dual time, it has the AM/PM indicator, and it has a crisp column wheel function selector with a vertical clutch engagement. So the column wheel makes it crisp to the touch, under the finger. And then the vertical clutch engages without jump or stagger. So the idea is it starts without adding any time. A lateral clutch will jump forward and then start ticking. The vertical clutch also allows you to leave the chronograph running full time if that is your preference. There will be no additional wear or tear to the watch. There's a lovely little blue flange underneath the edge of the sapphire that bathes the entire flank of the dial in a blue hue, and it's really quite beautiful. You've got that caliber 757 underneath, so a couple of additional details I didn't share. It uses unidirectional winding, which has been found to be more efficient than bidirectional, and ceramic ball bearings, which are just flat out more efficient than steel. It has a free-sprung balance for precise adjustment and also greater shock resistance, and the twin barrels do give it a 65-hour power reserve, as well as a very flat torque curve from maximum wind to minimum wind. You can see 100 meters water resistant, and then a Master 1000 hours control note right here. So what that means is the watch, as a fully assembled timepiece, has gone through the Master 1000 hours control. That is 41.6 days, being tested for chronometry, being tested for positional stability, water resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, and overall durability. First introduced in 1992, the Master 1000 was one of the first in-house tests that went beyond the 2-week bare movement 5-position test of the COSC. It is a 45 joule movement, and though you can't see it, it is nicely done up in JLC spec. And the watch, of course, feeling very substantial in the hand in spite of being a ceramic watch. So if you've got that ceramic watch prejudice and you think they all feel like a toy, this one doesn't. And actually, just to substantiate that, I will bring out Sammy the scale and let him have the final word on the matter. So there you go. Over a quarter-pound a watch, it's a beefy piece. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.